Good to see y'all. Hope everybody's doing well. We got a pretty good number here. I told Brother Barry I didn't think he was doing his job security because mother-in-law came in unhindered just like she owned the place, so I told him to be a little more careful. Good evening, everybody. I want to do this before I forget it because my brother just walked in and sat on the very back. We had a little water leak in the kitchen area this afternoon, and I was still working. I was able to turn the water off, but I called on two brothers. What's that Bible verse? Be instant in season and out. And Brother Eubanks and Brother Mash both dropped what they were doing and come out to the church and mopped water and set up fans, and it looks a lot better back there, and hopefully we'll get that leak fixed in the morning. But I want to tell them I appreciate them doing that. It's good to know when you can have an issue like that, you can call somebody there, right there. Well, Brother Tedford, would you lead us in a prayer, please?
Dear Lord, I come to you today, Lord, just thanking you for the blessings that you send my way, and I thank you for the ones that you send to my brothers and sisters here. Lord, this evening, humbly, I come just asking for the strength, asking for my church family to have the strength to bear the burden. Lord, just the burden of this old life as we go through our trials and our tribulations, Lord, I pray we have the faith and the strength to lean on you. Lord, that you can heal us. Lord, you can just guide us. Lord, you can just use us as you see fit, Lord. And Lord, I pray you give us the strength to do your will, Lord, and just look after us, Lord. Take good care of us, Lord. And tonight, I'm thankful for the ones that come out, Lord. I'm thankful for the ones that are willing to teach our young folks in the back. Lord, I'm just thankful for the ones who want to just teach and help and do as they should, or the way they live. Lord, just be with us, be with this church, be with the lesson tonight, Lord. Just let us get some learning, Lord. Let us be able to reapply. Lord, let it take it with us and just put it to use, Lord. Just be with us. I thank you for your son. Lord, I pray for this nation. Lord, it's just so long of a list, Lord, we could spend a long time praying. Lord, but you know our hearts and our minds. So Lord, just be with us. In your precious name.
Amen. Thank you, Brother Tedford. As I said, Brother Stapleton called me last Thursday morning, and to show you how the Lord works, within about an hour, I knew what I was going to be teaching on. And that wasn't anything that I had done, but the Lord started laying things in place from the get-go. I wrote the title of our discussion tonight is No Excuses. And we're going to see a little short video here shortly. But before we go there, does everybody have a cell phone?
A cell phone.
A cell phone.
Mine's in the car.
Well, Sweetie's got mine back there, but I was going to hold it up, but I forgot and left it with her. Does everybody have a cell phone pretty much? It's pretty much a positive? Okay. We'll get to that later. During the pandemic, which hopefully we're, I guess for a sports analogy, in the fourth quarter, hopefully, of this pandemic. But it's hindered us in a lot of ways, hasn't it? You know, many ways. Over 500,000 people have passed due to the coronavirus. Our church services have been greatly interrupted. We're still on an abbreviated schedule, you'd say. Hopefully that's going to change in the future, near future. But we're wearing the mask. We're doing that, of course, for everybody's protection. But we're not socializing as much either, are we? So we're not getting out. I don't know how many hands Brother Smith has shaken in his lifetime. There's no telling. But we don't shake hands anymore. Now, I don't know if we'll ever get back to that or not. I don't know. But the title of our study is going to be No Excuses. And I wish at this time Sister Writings is going to show us just a 3-minute video of a gentleman and what he had to do. And then we'll get into the lesson.
And finally tonight here, our Person of the Week. You know we love visiting American factories and celebrating workers across this country. But tonight, one worker who is beyond committed. Not just walking to work, walking 10 miles each way because he couldn't afford a new car. Tonight here, the big surprise for him just today. We were there for it and for our Person of the Week.
Hello, my name is James Robertson. I'm 56 years old. I live in Detroit.
Like so many Americans, James Robertson gets up every morning to go to work. His commute on foot, 21 miles. That's right, more than 10 miles each way.
I walk 21 miles every day just to get to a job that I love.
A factory worker at Shane Molden Engineering, he's never missed a day of work in his 13 years there.
It's fun, and my co-workers, we're like a second family.
A family worth walking to, ever since his car broke down more than a decade ago.
I had bought a 1988 Honda for $500, and it only lasted about 3-4 months.
He said he could never afford a new car. Over time, driving to work himself, a Detroit banker, Blake Pollock, notices something.
The thing that I saw was this man walking down the road at all different points on this road in all types of weather.
So one day, he offers James a ride, and a friendship soon forms.
His commute is just astonishing to me.
The banker tells the newspaper, the Detroit Free Press, then the article. Then a 19-year-old college student reads it. Enter Evan Leedy.
I read in the comments that people were asking how they could donate, which inspired me to create the GoFundMe page.
The goal? To raise $5,000 to get James an old used car.
Within 4 hours, we had $25,000 donated, and $25,000 turned into $50,000, turned into $100,000, and now it's up to $300,000.
First the banker, then the student, then the Detroit giant, Ford, who invited James today to test drive some cars, aware of all those donations. But when James got there, they simply gave him the car instead.
The keys to your new Ford Taurus. And let's come take a look at it.
He was overwhelmed. They gave him the car.
How do you like it?
I don't like it. I love it.
And then it hits him.
You know, if only my parents could see me now.
Saying if only his parents could see him. But tonight, the whole country has.
I feel like I'm just a simple, average guy having fun, and I've been blessed, to do what I've been blessed to do.
And so we choose James Robertson, a team helping him plan his retirement and home repairs with those donations. He's back to work on Monday, driving this time. I'm David Muir. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you Monday night. Good night.
How many of you walked to school when you was in school, high school?
I had to walk about 2 miles to catch the bus.
Uphill both ways.
Uphill both ways. Brother Tedford, did you walk to school?
No, sir.
I walked to school. But the reason being, we lived so close to school, the bus wouldn't stop and pick us up. Or at least it didn't pick me up. I don't know about my older brothers. It might have picked them up, but I don't remember that. But that gentleman didn't have any excuses, didn't he? He didn't make any excuses, did he? And there's lots of other examples online where people, walked long distances just to work. So he didn't use an excuse, and I don't think we should either. What started this thought, Sister Angel Roberts, y'all, she's a school teacher, and she teaches, elementary class, but she sent me a picture. They were having career day, and this little boy came to school. Guess what he came dressed as? Any guesses? He had on a suit, but he didn't have a tie, but guess what he had in his hand? I'm sorry? Bible. He had a Bible. So he came to school as a preacher, or maybe he wasn't a preacher. Maybe he was just a lay person like us. But somebody made an impression on him, didn't they? So we're going to go all the way from that little boy who appears to have been 8, 9 years old, all the way up to this gentleman here. Do y'all know how old Billy Graham was when he passed? Any guesses? To be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure, but I think at the time of the writing of that book, he was like 93.
99 is how old he was.
Brother Smith says he was 99. He said it very adamantly, so I'll believe what he said. This book says, Nearing Home, Life, Faith, and Finishing Well. And I believe I read the book. I couldn't find it. I actually had to borrow that one out of the library, but we're going to cover the gamut from that little boy all the way up to Billy Graham in his 90s when he passed. Some of you are in here a little older. Do you ever wonder if you have any thing to add? Do you ever wonder if there's things you can do? I'm talking about for the Lord's work. We always talk about how bad this old world is, right? And it is. And it will be. About how sinful it is, how bad it is. But what role do we play in it? Do we have a role to play in that? Do we have things to be doing? Nobody shook their head no. Everybody was in agreement with that. So, does your age matter as to what you can do or what you can't do? That little boy who I said was 8 or 9 years old, he obviously left an impression on me. He may not do anything else in life for the Lord, but he left an impression on me. And then there's a lot of us in between, isn't there, Brother Tedford? And back to the pandemic, we've used that probably as an excuse not to do things, right? Do things for the Lord. Is that excuse going to hold much water, do you think? I expect it's not. I'd encourage you all, matter of fact, I'd encourage everybody to read this, regardless of your age. We've got what, Sister writings, 2 copies in the library. To read that, because in the book he talks about, even his age, I think at that time might have been 93, of the things he was still, because he was asking himself those same questions. What can he do, or what can I do at this age? Because his health was starting to get bad, not as mobile, couldn't get around as well. But he was asking himself the same question, what can I do? And he addresses a lot of those things in this book as what he could do. So I'd encourage y'all to read that. An example of a person older, and I'm not going to go there and read it, but in 2 Samuel chapter 19, verses 31 through 39, there's a name I've read it, I know, because I read the book, but the name I didn't remember, and it was called Barzillai. He was 80 years old. Barzillai, maybe. His act of faith and help for King David during a time of need was so relevant at the time that we read about it in the Bible today, don't we? I mean, just the fact that that story made it to the Bible is a huge, huge thing, isn't it? So even at 80 years of age, he was able to be productive. He was able to be of benefit to King David. He was able to take care of his needs. And I think in that story too, he questions himself about his abilities at that age. Y'all stick with me here. So you can be turning to Galatians chapter 6, verses 1 through 10. Galatians 6, verses 1 through 10. It says, Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault, ye which are spiritual, restore such an one in the spirit of meekness, considering thyself, lest thou also be tempted. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. For if a man think himself to be something, when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. But let every man prove his own work, and then shall he have rejoicing in himself alone and not another. For every man shall bear his own burden. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever a man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. But he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And this verse here gets quoted quite a bit, and I really like it. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Let us do good. What does let us do good look like? What does that mean? It says, let us do good unto all men. When the good Lord saved us, did he say, all right, go over and sit in the corner, you're done? What did Paul tell them here? He said, let us do good unto all men. What does let us do good mean? I can't hear y'all. Y'all must have your mask on really tight. What does let us do good unto all men look like? Brother Eubanks, I thought, was a good example of it this evening. He helped a brother in need, didn't he? We're saved, and we want people to be saved too, don't we? We want them to have what we have, right? How good a job do you think we're doing on selling our product? I hate to put it in those terms, but maybe for easy understanding. How good a job are we doing? So if they look at Sister Janet, she told me not to throw her under the bus, but I just can't help it. I always do. To say, do I want what Sister Janet's got? I mean, these are real questions. I think this is a huge thing. We want people to be saved. We're going to have a revival. County Lines is having one in a few weeks. We want them to get saved, don't we? The Bible tells us to beat the bushes and bring people in, doesn't it? So, am I exuding something that other people's going to want? Am I showing them what the Lord's done for me? Think about it. So back to Sister Janet. Y'all think she's a good Christian girl? You base that on?
From what I've seen.
Oh, from what you've seen. Well, I've seen her quite a bit.
What you base it on?
What do I? You see how she turned that around? What do I base it on? She married me, which is that's not a good example, is it? But then again, it is because, and I should have looked these verses up. But what's it talk about? The good book talk about a spouse winning over a spouse to the Lord.
Right, that's what they're supposed to do.
What they're supposed to do.
Sure.
So if I can't say anything else about Sister Janet's Christianity, without her, I wouldn't be up here. Would I know the Lord? I don't know. I don't want to go back in time and take that chance. But because of her, I went to church and heard preachers like what we believe preach the gospel to the point where I was convicted and got saved. So at a minimum, she did that. I knew even then she had something that I wanted, that I needed. Go back to my point. We want people to have what we got. And I think we're all in agreement that maybe we're not doing too good a job of letting that be known, are we? Brother Tadford, I'm not going to throw you on the bus, but I will bring it up. Do a lot of people you work with know you're a Christian? How do they know that?
Through action and conversation.
Did y'all hear him? He said actions and conversation. This may not be appropriate, but you've heard the old saying, sometimes talk is cheap. I don't mean that in this case derogatory, but sometimes actions speak louder than words, right? Me and Sister Hale, which she's better known to me as Granny because that's what the kids call her. We were out at church yesterday trimming the rose bushes out front. I don't know if y'all notice them or not, but usually in the spring we trim them back. And we both enjoy doing that. But part of my goal was, because those roses have lots of thorns on them, and I did give her some gloves that had long sleeves, was to see when she got stuck what she'd say. What do y'all think she said? What, Brother John? No, I never did hear that. I never did hear that. I didn't hear that. Well, to her credit, and contrary to what I told other people, she didn't say anything she shouldn't say. Maybe ouch, because I was listening pretty closely just to see, because we got stuck several times. But actions speak louder than words, don't they? Brother Tedford, you said actions and conversations. Let's move over to the action side of that. Do you have any, I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I? Do you have any examples of acts? And if you can't answer that, I'll ask Sister Tedford.
That's all right, I'll answer. Last Tuesday.
Wait, I'm sorry, excuse me. Did y'all see how quickly she...
Monday at the close of T-ball practice, my husband closed with prayer. And he done all last year, whenever they had a game, he closed with prayer.
Amen. Think that'll leave an impression on those little boys or girls? Some of them may not have heard that before. We think that's hard to believe, but good possibility some of them hadn't. So, Sister Tedford, would you say that Brother Tedford shown by his actions to be a Christian man? You believe so? Sister Barbara. Brother Jimmy, and I say that spiritually and by blood, is retired now. Do you... Y'all probably thought he's been retired for a long time, hadn't you? But it's actually not. But I've known him a long time. What about his actions? Have you seen... Y'all notice I'm strategic in who I call out here. Have you seen examples of Christian activity by my brother, your husband?
I have.
You have? Do you have an example of that? Small or large, it doesn't matter.
Lots of them.
Lots of them.
Small and large.
Small and large. And I do too. I will brag on him. I do too. I actually tell people he's the best one in the bunch. Hey. Now she was a little too quick to answer that, wasn't she? But we want people to have what we got. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not doing a very good job of showing that. And is that one day a week or 2 days a week? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Wednesday night and then again Sunday. No. Well, there's like 5 other days there that we go out in the world amongst the people and we have opportunities, right? Some people, I've heard the excuse, and I probably made it myself before, well, I'm not really around people that much. I don't get to interact with people that much. Well, that doesn't float the boat, that doesn't carry any water. I'm probably too talkative, but we can make our opportunities if we want to make them. That man walked how far just to go to work every day? How far?
21 miles.
21 miles. Me and Granny, as I'll affectionately call her, were in Brewston last week. We went to a barbecue truck set up there in Brewston. Perry's, good barbecue. And I spoke to the gentleman. I assume his name was Perry. I really can't say for sure because I didn't ask him his name. We didn't get that far. But the conversation turned toward the Lord. And how can you do that just simply in the conversation? How pretty was it today? Beautiful, wasn't it? Beautiful. So if you walk up to somebody either you know or don't know, what could you say? How could you interject the Lord into your conversation with that person just right away?
And the Lord blessed us with a beautiful day.
The Lord has blessed us with a beautiful day. Now, how simple was that? Back to my conversation with Perry, he told me, I think Granny was actually starting to get hungry because we talked for a while. that he uses that barbecue truck as what? A ministry. I said, whoa, really? He uses that as a ministry, and I didn't have to pull that out of him either. As a matter of fact, he was pretty quick to get that out there. I'd never met the man before in my life. But we were having a good conversation there in about a 5-minute span. Pull up to the gas pumps. Somebody's across the way. We have two choices, don't we? We can be about our business and pump the gas, get in the car, and leave. Not a lot of risk involved in that, are there? We're from the South. We're supposed to be friendly, right? We're known for that. We're supposed to be. How much trouble is it to just say something like that? Hadn't the Lord blessed us with a pretty day or a beautiful day to that person? There wasn't a lot of risk involved in that, was it? Sister Janet, would you turn your mother's Bible to James chapter 2, verse 18, please? We want them to have what we got. So if I'm at that same gas pump and I'm like this right here, just kind of fumbling around and grumbling and growling, or I can be happy. What do they say that it actually takes fewer muscles to smile than it does to frown? I don't know if that's true or not. My daughter may know. She's in the middle of a whole lot of medical school studying, but we honestly, sometimes I think we are just like an old prune, or we don't show any emotion. I had an aunt who's dead and gone now. She shouted a lot in church. What was her name, Janet? Imogene. She shouted in church. Have we had shouting here at our church before? We have. Believe it or not, I shouted one time in church. Didn't plan on it, but I got happy. You know anything about that, Brother Eubanks? So, people can look at us by conversation, by our actions, things that we do. I better hurry up because I'm not going to cover most of this. But we got to show them something that they're going to want. Janet, would you read that, please?
James 2 and 18.
Yes, ma'am.
Yea, a man may say, Thou hast faith, and I have works. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show thee my faith by my works.
I will show you my faith by my works. Brother Tedford, what does that mean to you? I'm back to you again.
It means if you believe, as you say you do, you should have some action. You shouldn't have to be spurred into doing it.
Brother Tedford, would you go to Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10, please? Sister Janet, I'm putting y'all to work here. Go to James 3 and 13. Show you my faith by my works. Works such as what? What kind of works? Because that's we're going to kind of drill it down a little bit. What kind of works? Let's get this out of the way right off the start. Brother Eubanks, is works going to get you into heaven? Nope. Let's just get that out of the way. What kind of works? I know a lady, and I'm going to leave her unnamed, but I'm going to use this example. I can't leave her without using this example. And this is during the middle of a pandemic. I got to leave out the first name, but a sausage ball ministry. Do you know did y'all hear what I said? A sausage ball ministry. You got a clue what that is? Everybody know what a sausage ball is? You know what a ministry is? All right, put the two together. During a pandemic, she was delivering sausage balls to folks. You know, they wasn't necessarily hungry, but what did that do? What did that simple act, do you think, did for those people that received those sausage balls? I'm sorry, y'all got quiet for some reason. What do you think the simple act of her taking those sausage balls to those folks, what kind of impact did that have?
It shows love.
Brother in the very back said it shows love.
Next question is, why would she do something like this?
Why would she do something like that?
That leads right into the next question is, I gotta find out.
You got to find. Why would she do that? Who did I give Ephesians chapter 2, verse 10 to? Brother Tedford. Time to shine.
For we are his workmanship, created in Jesus Christ for good works, which God prepared beforehand that we should walk in them.
Did everybody hear that? Created unto what? Good works. Does that include a simple sausage ball ministry?
Yeah.
Do you know what this is? I don't often bring this out. It's a little book. Everybody see the little book? Do you know what's in the little book? Does anybody got a clue? There's a lady in the back shaking her head, yes. Lady in the back, would you divulge what that little book is? It's not a little black book either, don't go there. It's a little brown book. Lady in the back, what's in that little book? I'm sorry? People we need to pray for. How easy is it? Y'all heard the names of the prayer requests tonight, did you? How many of you wrote them down? I'm sure all of you had them memorized, right? That's a good answer. Writing the names down. So when you pray, you can pray for those people because they're people. Gary and Starla Renfro are in the hospital at Jackson. He's suffering with cancer. They're going through lots of ups and downs, right? If you've been through that, you know all about it. Do you think they need prayer? So when I mentioned their name, I didn't mention that lightly. They really need our prayers. The lost need our prayers. Sister Janet, go to Romans chapter 12, verse 4 through 8, please. I'm sorry, I lost track. I got to talking. Would you read James 3:13?
Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of the good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
And what does the word conversation mean in the good book? Another word for it. Conduct, lifestyle. So read that again, Janet, the last part, please.
Let him show out of the good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
With meekness of wisdom. It didn't say boastful and pride. I did this, I did that, I done that. It didn't say that. It says with meekness. All right. Some of us might say, well, I'm not good at talking to people, right? Or I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that. Right? Sister Key, you didn't think I'd leave you out, did you? Are you good at talking to people?
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I believe you are.
Depends on what it's about.
Depends on what it's about. Sister Janet, would you read Romans 12, verses 4 through 8, please.
For we have many members in one body, and all members have not the same office. So we, being many, are one body in Christ, and everyone members one of another. Having been gifts differing according to the grace that is given to us, whether prophecy, let us prophesy according to the proportion of faith, or ministry, let us wait on our ministering, or he that teacheth on teaching, or he that exhorteth on exhortation. He that giveth, let him do it with simplicity. He that ruleth with diligence. He that showeth mercy with cheerfulness.
Showeth mercy with cheerfulness. Is there anybody here that believes that when the good Lord saved you, you don't have any gift or ability to do anything for the Lord?
I think he gives everybody a gift.
Brother Collins said he believes he gives everybody a gift.
And they're all different.
And they're all different.
May be close to the same thing, but I believe that every person is saved when they're saved, has given a gift that cannot be taken away, and it will be used in the future, or maybe just days, hours, months, years, who knows? So you have that gift at the right time and the right place.
Well, then I guess that would bring on another question. Does everybody know what their gift is?
I think you can find out your gift if you want it bad enough.
If you want it bad enough.
Ask God enough, He'll show you what He wants you to do.
Everybody hear what Brother Ray said? That man on that screen we just seen walk 21 miles to work, didn't he? That's every day. That wasn't just one time. Sister Tedford, Sister Sharon Tedford. Do you think you know what your husband's gift is? They're in my Sunday school class, so they're kind of used to this being pointed out.
He's pretty generous, patient.
Patient. Holds his tongue. It's going a little too far. I can tell by her response. Brother Tedford, do you know what Sister Tedford's gift is?
I do. She's willing. She's caring. And she's a leader.
Anybody else know what their gift is? Or what you're, instead of gift, what you're supposed to be doing. And why are we supposed to be doing this? To show others we want them to be saved, right? We want them to see what we got. We want them to really have what we have. So in order for them to see that and do that, they got to see what we got. But before we can show that, we got to know ourselves, don't we? I'm going to put my own self on the spot. I'm going to ask Sister Janet if she knows what my gift might be. See, I didn't say yours, I said mine. That way I'm on the spot, not you. Did you hear the question? We didn't rehearse this beforehand either, I can tell you that, and you can tell by her lack of response that we didn't rehearse it. Who said that?
I think that you are very patient and you are very thoughtful towards others.
Patient and thoughtful. I don't know about the patient part. I might argue with that, but.
I think one of your gifts is being willing. You're willing to do whatever.
Willing. Brother Eubanks might argue with that because I didn't hang around and mop that water up this evening. But I was working for another man, so I kind of had to do what he wanted me to do, but I tried to turn the water off before I left. We got to know what we're supposed to be doing. If we want to show these people You're lost. I've got something you really need. Shouldn't we at least be a little enthusiastic about it? Shouldn't we be smiling more? And I'm the world's worst to be talking about this. I know. But we don't have any excuses, do we? Do we have an excuse? Let's get that out of the way right off. We don't have any excuse, do we? There's a lady I use an example all the time in my Sunday school class when we was having Sunday school. Most everybody here knows her. And I mentioned the name Betty Hart. What do you think?
Yeah, I know her.
What do you think? Would you say that again, Brother Eubanks?
She walks the talk.
She walks the talk. And has. As long as I've known her, she's walked the talk. I'm not going to try to put myself up against Miss Betty. That'd be silly. But she walks the talk. She's got something I want. I've got it. But, you know, Miss Betty writes letters. Miss Betty writes letters to the editor in the local newspaper. They're all positive. Somebody may have passed that she thought was a really good person. She'll write a letter. She makes phone calls. Back to the cell phones I brought up earlier. Everybody's got one, right? What can you do, Brother Tedford, with that phone in a Christian way? We know there's a lot of bad things we can do, but what can we do with that phone to show Christian love and to show our faith?
Call people.
Brother Smith said call people. What would a younger person say, Brother Tedford? Text somebody. I text. My mother-in-law texts. How hard is it to text? Brother Eubanks says he doesn't like it, and I got to wind this up. So everybody in here said they had a phone pretty much. Call somebody in the church you hadn't seen in a while. Know who's on the prayer list. Know of others. Call them. Text them. Tell them you're concerned about them. Ask them if there's anything you can do for them. That's just with that phone.
During this pandemic, I've called more people than I ever called in my life.
Brother Smith said he called more people during the pandemic than he ever had before in his life. He used that phone, didn't he? Used it for good. Sister Janet, 1 John 3 and 14. You didn't realize when you come tonight how valuable you'd be, did you?
1 John 3 and 14.
Yes, ma'am. 1 John 3 and 14.
Read the NIV version because my eyes are messed up. We know that we pass from death to life because we love each other. Anyone who does not love remains in death.
We know we pass to death unto life because of what?
Love the brother.
We love the brother. My oldest brother's here, and I love him to death. I don't always like him, but I love him to death.
Supposed to love your neighbor, too.
Supposed to love your neighbor. I heard one of my neighbors over here. So why should we do these things? Why did Brother Carver years ago stand up in a pulpit at Clarksburg and preach a message that touched me here so greatly that I went home and cried because I knew where I was heading? Why did he do that? Was it for some little sum of paper money they give him for preaching that revival that week? Why did he do it? He loved the brother. When we're saved, Brother Collins, does the Lord instill in us a love for each other? Should. So why should we do these things? Why should we be doing these things? Why should we be making phone calls? Why should we be texting? Why should we be taking sausage balls, of all things, to people? Why should we be using a barbecue truck as a ministry. Why should we be doing that?
It's just a way of getting the word out. And that's what we're supposed to be doing, is getting the word.
We're supposed to be getting the word out.
Encourage people.
Encourage people.
Show love.
Show love. We all have differing gifts, don't we? Do we all have a responsibility and an obligation?
Yeah.
I said, do we all have a obligation? Of course we do. Time is about shot, and I won't worry your patience. But the last thing I'll leave you with is, what are you going to do? What are we going to do? We've been through a terrible, historic time and still in it. That doesn't alleviate us from our obligation and responsibilities as Christians, does it? Not at all. So what are we going to do? We said, I think everybody agreed we didn't have any excuse.
The thought that keeps running through my head, and still trying to get from saying it, we should be about the Father's business. And showing kindness. You know, Jesus showed kindness, and it wasn't to the rich, it was to the downtrodden. We should be about his business and being Christ-like.
So when the Lord was condemned for sitting at the table with the sinners, what did he tell them, Sister Prince?
Hey, Sister Janet.
He got condemned because he was sitting there with all these sinners. What did he tell them? He said, that's why I came, was for he came for the sinners. He came for us.
He didn't come for the righteous.
He didn't come for the righteous.
The whole don't need a physician.
The whole don't need a physician. But anyway, I'll leave you with that, and I'll be quiet. But we have no excuses. We need to be doing anything for the Lord. Whether it's delivering sausage balls, sending a text, making a phone call, writing a letter, helping somebody prepare for a minimal lesson. There's things we can be doing. We have no excuses.
People are always watching, even when we don't think so.